Okay, lads, thanks a million again for participating. So now I want to show you some exercises that are typically very, very difficult for people learning English. And these exercises are from the Cambridge exams, and Cambridge have the first certificate, advanced certificate, and the proficiency certificate. So this section is from the advanced certificate, and I hope that you might be all at that level. I have a feeling that you that you might be at that level, but they're very, very tricky. And I just want to share my screen. But first, I suppose, different languages. Do you have experience, maybe Dave, Kieran, Luke, with different languages? Do you speak other languages?
I mean, very poorly, but I'd understand a good bit of Spanish, and very minimal Irish, but no, not really.
Luke had a few nights out in the Canary Islands where he came home convinced he was speaking Spanish.
That's what it was, Kieran.
So you've never experienced like an exam in another language, I don't think. Well, apart from
in the Leaving Cert, yeah, but that was it's not very adaptive, you know. It's it's the same every year, so I don't think you're really learning the language in the Leaving Cert.
Yeah. Okay, so let me share.
Well, I did a Spanish exam in college.
And what would your level be, do you think, of Spanish?
Currently, as low as you can get. Back then, I was probably on step 2 out of 10, maybe 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, so.
¿Y puedes hablar en español? Kieran, ¿puedes hablar un poquito?
Sí, un poquito.
Perfecto.
Nice.
So this is the typical exercise, and it's very, very interesting. So you have an article, typical article, and you have spaces, okay? So gaps and spaces. 0, they give you the option is, obviously is the word. The title is maybe the origin of the language. So this is perfect because there's 3 people. We can take maybe 3 sections each. So maybe Luke, would you like to maybe read and try your best with the first paragraph? And I think we'll be okay. I think we'll have the good answers, but it could be anything more or less.
So it's just like the truth is nobody really knows how language first began. Sorry, I can't. Yeah. Your face is in the way. Did we all start talking at around the same time?
And take your time. You don't have to answer it now. You can read maybe everything and then come back, but it is a bit tricky. Okay. Yeah, so number 9 is the first one. And so nothing comes to your mind immediately?
No, but I probably, now that at the same time, out of the manner in which our brains had begun to develop.
Oh, so let me tell you as well, it's only one word. So you're only allowed one word. And it could be like a preposition, it could be a linker, it could be like an auxiliary verb, which is very technical. But because you're natives, I'm not going to give you too much help, or native speakers. So maybe what's your guess maybe for number 9, Luke?
Okay. Well, I don't know. Same time.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, maybe
I know it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Dave if you want to jump in, but Kieran, what do you think is the answer for number 9?
Well, I know a guess. Did we all start talking at around the same time because of the manner in which?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Took a while.
I think that's the best answer because of, but you can see sometimes they're tricky and they're difficult, and especially the first time they're a bit difficult. But maybe Dave, do you want to take the maybe next sentence and maybe number 10?
Although there's a lack of clear evidence, people have come up with various theories about the origins of language. One recent theory is that human beings have evolved in
I don't know if the connection is slow, Dave, or you haven't got
no, I've just completely gone blank. I'm reading it as in a way that we are programmed for language from the birth, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it does, doesn't it? It is possible in a way that does work, but there is another word that we can
Here's
use
another
here.
word that, yeah, gives it extra more context. Yeah,
I have one, I think.
go for it.
One recent theory is that human beings have evolved in forming a way that we are programmed for language from the moment of birth.
Interesting. It's not usually that complicated. It's a good idea. It's definitely a good option, but there is maybe a more basic or a more small or a typical word here.
Creating?
Pardon?
Creating?
Again, it's a bit more difficult. That so it's not really vocabulary. It's more like basic structures. So it's not really vocabulary. Kieran, what do you think about this one? Have you got a possible idea?
I don't have this one yet. In
Finding?
Interesting. I called you lads because you are my most intelligent friends. I expect you to have the answers here, lads.
Okay. In such a way,
You should,
in such a way that we are programmed for language in the moment. Such?
Yeah, brilliant.
Very good.
That's
Kieran's nailing this. One of your smartest friends, anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe I suppose, Kieran, this is your turn for number 11. So you're on a roll.
Yeah.
You're in good form.
In other words, language came about as a result of an extraordinary change in our brains at some stage.
Yeah, so you probably agree. Maybe that's more understandable, isn't it? And easier, I think.
Yeah.
And then just to show people as well, lack is very important. Again, to explanation, I don't know, Dave, what might be the best explanation to tell people the significance of lack?
Missing or low amount.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a very, very important word. A lack of time, a lack of energy, a lack of food, and very good. And then again, Luke, I suppose this one's difficult to come up with. Yeah, in other words, how do you explain that? Okay, so yeah, come up with an idea, create an idea, come up with a plan, create a plan. Really, really good. Okay, I forget whose turn it is. Is it Dave or is it Luke?
I think it's me, unfortunately. Language may well be programmed into the brain, but
yeah, May is correct. And is there an yeah, so May is correct, but what's another possibility there? Very, very similar, almost the same. May or pardon?
Might.
Yeah, I think might, may, or could. I think the three are possible. They're called modal verbs. And just a question, because I never really knew what modal verbs was before I started teaching English. And now, lads, I don't know, are you aware of what a modal verb is?
No, never heard of it.
It's amazing, really. So modal verbs is like may, could, might, should, must, have to. There's a special category and they're called modal verbs. So it's just incredible that like a lot of us are not really aware of the languages and structure, I suppose. Number 13 is a bit tricky. And I think it's you, Dave, again, but you're having a lot of difficult ones this time. So don't worry if it's hard, but 13 is a bit tricky. And I think there's two possibilities. I need to double check the answer, but I think there's two possibilities. So obviously the context of the sentence is important as well. Language may well be programmed into the brain, but people still need stimulus from others around us. I think the connection is very slow today. I think
with
a delay. Pardon?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I've no idea, to be honest.
With?
I was thinking as well as if you can use two.
Yeah, I had a few with two, but
yeah. So you're very, very close, and obviously it's just one word, and it's very, very close to what you say. So we need to think of another possibility instead of us. It's yeah. Lads, this is perfect video for me. You're really showing how difficult it is. This is really good material for me. So thank you.
It's easy to edit and cut down and make us seem smarter than we are.
Okay, we can come back. We can come back to 13. And then I suppose number 14. So from studies, and actually I think 14 is the most difficult. So 14 is a bit difficult. From studies, we know that something.
Many.
It's a possibility, but you need to, you need to read the sentence to be sure. They're definite possibility. So it is really important to read for everybody taking exams. It's important to read the context of the sentence.
Some,
yeah.
So the key here, I think, is the second part. You see the second part, it is. So I think the second part of the sentence is dependent on the first part. So this is probably called the conditional, and I don't know if we're all familiar with the conditional, but in the conditional, it's a long sentence and you need to read the full sentence to really get the best word. It's a very, very small word. I definitely think you can all join. Yeah, exactly. If. So it is just you need to read the full sentence. But you're all welcome to join my English class.
we might need to.
I think we need to.
It's a difficult. Number 14 was a bit difficult. So I suppose we've 15 and 16, and maybe Kieran, would you like to take maybe 15?
No, my confidence is low now. This research shows if
I have it.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yes. Relief.
I was going to say anything. Would anything work there?
It would be very, very similar. Yeah, and yeah, it could. I think it could be a possibility. But for me, I feel nothing else is maybe a bit more comfortable. I don't know how you feel, Luke. If you had to make a decision between the two.
Yeah, I'd say nothing is probably better between the two.
But I agree. I think anything's definitely a candidate and definite possibility. And then I think 16, Luke, might be.
From.
Oh, okay. It's
By.
logical. From, by, they're logical, but there's definitely another option, which is very typical. And there's
in
we'd say in isolation, exactly.
This is deadly.
So well done, lads. I think you're all improving. I think you're
Get there. Another 10 years.
Hold on. It took 3 of us to get through one of them, and I'm pretty sure we only maybe got 50%. And we still haven't figured out 13.
Oh, have we not? Okay, so
No.
yeah, exactly. Let's go back to 13. You cannot leave this meeting until we have 13.
Yeah. Oh, my internet's down.
So I think as well as it's very similar.
Also.
Yeah. So language. Yeah.
In conjunction.
I can give you a tip when you're. Yeah, I can give you a tip. I suppose the best tip is maybe apart from. Obviously, it's only one word, but we might say apart from this, which sounds very similar to the real word. Pardon?
Except?
Yeah, so it's something similar like except, but we would normally say except for. This would maybe be more typical, except for. But there is another little word, almost very, very similar. For example, I will go to the city centre, except for the rain. So like I will go to the city centre. I would go to the city centre.
No, but no, the but's before it. God damn it.
We're on the right track though.
In this?
I've a real temptation to leave you and just to let you continue guessing. Real temptation.
We can do this, lads. We can do it.
Okay, I think it is tricky, especially the first. I can't believe I'm making excuses for you. This.
Can we just edit this whole video? Start again. Use the same document.
I think the best one might be despite. I think the word is despite.
Oh.
Okay.
We wouldn't use that word. Yeah.
So it's tricky,
Real
but
life.
to give you some advice, well, not some, to give you some background, that exercise is the most difficult for people. There's 4 parts in the exams, and that part is definitely the most problematic and the most difficult for people. A lot of people have a lot of difficulty and problems with that part. And
Us including.
What's the point of that?
what's the point?
What's the point system for that one? So like out of the 4 parts, how much is that worth and what's the success rate of it?
Yeah, I think the success rate is a lot lower compared to the other parts, and I think each mark is 1 mark per question. It is a very interesting exam. It's very curious, and I'm tempted also to show you the next part in this video. If you're happy, I suppose we can continue with the next exercise. If you feel like dropping out, if it's too difficult for you, no problem. That was a joke.
I need to do this now, but it probably is too difficult.
Well, then I'll show you the next one just for curiosity as well. And I have to say, the next one is very, very difficult as well for a lot of people. So here, I think, yes, this is classic. So normally there is 6 questions. So this is the first 3. And the instruction is you have the first question. My brother now earns far less than he did when he was younger. Your job is to write the second sentence with the same significance as the first sentence, and you must include nearly. And I think at advanced level, it's minimum 3 words and maximum 6. So I think this should be a bit maybe more easier, I hope, maybe for yourself. But Luke, when you look at the first one, my brother now earns far less than he did when he was younger. How might you create the second sentence with the same significance using nearly, more or less?
Okay, so just give me a minute if you can.
Yeah. Or does anything come to your mind? Like, can you think?
Yeah, like I can think of what I'm kind of trying to say is like my brother is nearly on as much now as he. No.
Yeah, and that would be very, very good. That would be correct. But there is a more fluent structure. But exactly, to be on is very difficult. You're on the same salary. That's a very, very good answer. But there is a more fluent structure, I suppose. And I'm sure, obviously, you know this, but your first answer is really good. And it's a very, very good idea. But I think there's a second possibility. And I don't know if you're maybe aware or if it comes to your mind, the second structure.
No, it doesn't come to my mind immediately anyway.
Okay, Kieran, what do you think about that one maybe?
My brother earns nearly as, that's not enough, nearly as much now as he did now. My brother earns nearly, my brother earns nearly as much. No.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's tricky because it's the negative. They say far less, so he maybe earned less. So for this reason, it's definitely complicated.
So if you say my brother earns nearly as much now as he did when he was younger, is that implies he earned less, does it?
I think we need a little bit. You're almost correct in that sentence, but I think we need a little. Obviously, in the exams, these are difficult, and people need.
My brother earns almost as much. Or my brother earns nearly.
Yeah.
As much now as he did when he was younger.
Okay, Dave, your chance now for the glory, Dave. This is your chance to take the glory.
Oh, I was going to go with Kieran's one. I was like, I hope he asks me now. But yeah, now that Kieran's one is wrong, I'm like,
but just to remind everybody as well, language is not your specialities. None of you are you're more
Oh,
technical.
certainly not.
Thank you.
My brother doesn't earn as much now as he did when he was younger.
Yeah, exactly. So really good, and it takes time, but these are really, really difficult for a lot of people. And I think that would be the most fluent structure. My brother doesn't exactly. So really, really good.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so the first one's obviously the little test and a little sample as well. But in the structure for the points, you have 2 points for the correct answer. And if you have the first part correct, you have 1 point. And if you have the second part correct, you have another point. Dave, what do you think about the second one? So they are demolishing the old bus station and replacing it with a new one. And it's necessary to use pull.
Pulled or pull?
Yeah, exactly. So it's necessary the same word, pulled.
Pulled.
It's weird because all I'm seeing is the old bus station is being replaced with a new one.
Yeah. So yeah, and of course you need to calculate really. So with the new one is in the first sentence, you can eliminate that. So you can eliminate the two. The old bus station is in this sentence and also in the second sentence. So we can eliminate this. So we need a substitution really with demolishing and replacing, I think. So yeah.
I see the trick now.
Pardon?
I see the trick now.
What's the answer then?
I'm gonna let Dave go first.
Oh, I don't know.
So yeah.
Is it the old bus station is being demolished and replaced?
Yeah, exactly. So, but we need to substitute pulled for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is being pulled and replaced with a new one?
It's being pulled down.
Yeah, exactly. So we would say, I think the most typical would be pulled down, which is
Really?
I suppose,
Like torn down, yeah, but pulled down, I never would have.
Yeah, it really threw me because pulled, I was like, it can't be is being pulled down because that doesn't, that didn't work. But
It's like our other conversation. Like pulled down. It's just I don't know. It's very. I would never use pulled down.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. And I totally agree with you. Torn down would be very, very typical, or maybe bulldozed or demolished. But it does exist, Luke. And I mean, would you say that it is possible?
Yeah, it is possible. Obviously, it's an exam, but I could see it being possible, but it never would have entered my mind.
I suppose pulled is less aggressive.
Yeah, and demolish is a bit stronger. So that's the typical structure you can, and so pull down and replace. So it's necessary to continue with replaced as well. And I suppose I cannot remember who's.
I think it's just
we're all
gets in
failing.
first.
Yeah, dog eat dog. So the sentence here is the number of students. I tell you what, we can make a noise.
The lowest is the lowest it has ever been.
You were very quick. Okay, so the number of students now at university has reached an all-time high. So Luke, you think the number of students now at university is?
The lowest it has ever been, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. Yeah. Yay.
Luckily enough, my battery's going soon.
Oh, okay, yeah. And that's a perfect example of the exercises in the use of English in the Cambridge exams. Would you like, I'm going to show you 3 more just to finish. And it's the same structure because you're all on a run now. You're in good form. I can feel the atmosphere. I can feel the mood. You're all improving. And I just need to find the Zoom now. But
let me grab my charger as well.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to share the screen. Sorry, I didn't realize that I wasn't shared. So now this is a chance for Dave and Kieran to get some more points while Luke is away from the competition. So I suppose maybe Dave, if you want to look at the first one. So I'm disappointed with the Fisher's new album. Okay, yeah, take your time and you can maybe look at that one.
Disappointed with the Fisher's new album when I compare it to the previous one.
Sorry guys, I actually can't get my charger because it's inbuilt into my desk. So
No, don't worry. So if
You
you,
take the first one then in case you get cut off, Luke.
okay.
Go on.
I'm disappointed. Disappointed.
I have something, but it's not.
You know, on Monday.
yeah,
And I think the Fishers' new album is disappointing in comparison to their previous one.
yeah, that's definitely one possibility. Exactly. So disappointing. Is there another alternative form of disappointing? Can you think of another possible structure with the word disappointing, or another similar word? It's the same word but in a different form.
Disappointing compared to?
Is a disappointment?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's the second, is a disappointment compared. Maybe Kieran, yours is correct as well. I could be, but I think they're the two good ones as well. Yeah, so now you have the idea. You're in the flow, lads. I think you're doing well. You're doing great. Keep it up. Kieran, do you want to try maybe the 29?
And Anna got the job in spite of her lack of experience.
Yeah, very, very good. And that's a big problem for a lot of people learning English. In spite of is the same as despite. I have one question for you all. If I say to you, I am disappointing or I am disappointed, that's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Massive difference. If I say to you, I am bored or I am boring, and again, that's a massive difference.
Mm-hmm.
But it's incredible when people try to learn English, they make this confusion a lot. And it's a really, really big. So I just see when I see disappointed, it's that just came to my mind as well. Okay, number 30. Maybe whoever wants, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I must warn you how dangerous it is to cycle at night without any lights. Grammatically, this is called reported speech and direct speech and reported speech is the grammar area here. But you
Max received a warning of the dangers at night without any lights from the police officer.
Okay, a warning of the dangers at night. You say a warning of the dangers. Okay, any possible
Of dangers instead of the dangers.
No, okay, no problem. Yeah, and I'm just thinking the preposition a warning of or a warning. We could say
A warning about the dangers of cycling.
So yeah, exactly. Which one would you select, I suppose? Or maybe they're the same.
About would probably be more correct in exam sense. Of would be what I'd say in real life, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's a good point. I think this shows you it's tricky as well. But I think the two are possible, but probably about you might feel more comfortable about. I don't know. So that's just the exercise. So well done. And what's your reaction, I suppose? Obviously at the beginning it's difficult, like everything. It doesn't matter if you're good at English, it's always difficult at the beginning. But what's your impression of that level? Is it difficult or is it maybe easier with more time?
It's easier with more time, but I can completely understand if it's not your even
Oh, Luke, that was a great point. I thought that was the best point he made all night.
It's definitely more difficult than I expected, I have to say. But you do kind of get a feel for it. Obviously, just kind of doing the 6, you kind of get into maybe a little bit more of a rhythm and understanding. I don't know. Your mind gets it. Practice definitely helps, but it's not easy.
Yeah. I know for me, if I was trying this in another language, I think I would have so many problems because of the detail.
Yeah,
The little words.
It just shows how much if you change the positioning even slightly, it completely changes the context. And
yeah, no, really good. So they're the two typical exercises, and I'm going to show you one final exercise just to give you a final taste of. And I'm sure that you will have a lot of comfort and a lot of ease with this one. I think this one will be a little bit more fluent for you. So this is part 3, and thank you very much for your patience, I suppose. You will receive your payment in the post, I think €50 per person, and thank you very much. So you can see the instruction here is an article, and you have a word on the right but it's necessary to change the form of the word. So for example, profession changes to professional. Come is necessary to change the form to something related. So it could be the negative. You have to be creative. Fit, it's necessary to change the form for number 18. Come is with 17. Endure is with 19. Benefit with 20, etc., etc. So I suppose whoever wants, I mean, maybe Dave, would you like to maybe just read the first few to see what your instinct is?
Sure. What are the capabilities that a professional sports person needs to guarantee that opponents can be
Yeah. And this one is, I think this one is the most difficult, but you don't need to do it now. You can obviously get a feeling for the text first and return to it if you want.
Not getting it. So
Yeah.
it can be something. Speed, stamina, and agility are essential. Not to mention outstanding natural talent. Both a rigorous and comprehensive fitness regime and a highly nutritious diet are vital for top level performance. It is carbohydrates rather than proteins and fats that provide athletes with the endurance they need to compete.
Okay, brilliant. And Kieran, do you want to do 20?
This means that pasta is more beneficial than eggs or meat.
Yes.
Such a diet enables them to move very energetically when required. Failure to follow a sensible diet can result in the inability to maintain stamina.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So that was difficult. 21 was very difficult. And you can see that this is more natural for everybody. It's very, very good. And maybe, well, I should have saved that comment until after Luke.
Yeah, nice one.
Oh, maybe you cannot see it, Luke. Can you see the text?
Yeah, I can see it. It's tiny, so it might take me. So regular training to increase muscular strength is also a vital part of a professional's regime, and this is type.
It's a bit confusing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, this is done by exercising with weights. This is not completed. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Sports people are prone to injury, but a quality training regime can ensure that the severity of these can be minimized.
Yeah, brilliant. So severity is very, very difficult, and that's really, really good. Number 23 is related to type, but you might not think it's, well, I don't know.
Typically.
Yeah, I think it will be, I suppose the answer is typically. So this is typically done.
Okay, typically done by exercising with weights. So
Luke, to recover and to get back in the game, do you want to maybe look at number 17?
17, okay. To guarantee the opponents can be speed, stamina, and agility are essential.
And this is the trickiest, but it is very fluent. It's not strange. It's very normal. It's very fluent. It's very good vocabulary.
Comfortable.
Yeah. Oh,
can be achieved. No, sorry.
So I suppose it's tricky because the opponents, so you would not really achieve the opponent. It's the verb that's related to the opponents, I suppose. You do something with the opponent. It is very, very hard because you need to think very, very creatively with come. It could be like a longer word that you might not you definitely probably don't associate with come. I don't know, Kieran. Or,
overcome.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it?
Overcome.
Yeah.
Overcome. All right.
Yeah, very, very good. Luke, do you know the significance of overcome?
Yeah, I do.
Sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. This is educational. It's not fun. It's not funny to make jokes about.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So that's part 3.
It's more difficult on the screen,
Okay, so really in the exam there's one more part, but I'm not going to suffer to let you suffer a bit more. But it's no, I'm really happy.
Save that for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy because I'm teaching this a long time and people have some difficulties. And always I tell people that these exercises would be difficult for native speakers. I always tell them my family would have difficulty with it. My friends would have difficulty with it. And thank you today for confirming my
Proof.
thesis.
proof, yeah.
Yeah. And it is tricky, but I'm sure if you had more time and if you're looking at this yourself, I'm sure you would have no problem. But
It's very late in the day.
Yeah, we'll study up until for the next one then.
Yeah.
it is a bit, no, honestly, it's a bit tricky, but thank you so much. And it was a pleasure. So thank you very much, everybody. Do you have any last advice to the enthusiastic students preparing for these exercises?
Just stick with it. It'll be difficult, but you can do it.
Kieran?
Can't put it any better than that.
And Dave, I don't know if you want to have the final word.
Good luck.
Okay, thanks a million, and talk to you soon.
Cheers.